One of the more popular commercials, pertaining to cars at least over the past several years, features this leggy Italian supermodel emotionally overwhelming some poor regular guy in the vicinity of a black Fiat 500 Abarth, much like this one. And although the commercial itself is quite catchy, it doesn't really speak to the personality of this car. It's not some leggy Italian supermodel from the shores of Lake Como. It's more like a loud, fun party person that you meet at some club somewhere just looking to have a good time. First off, the Abarth is quite loud. It's got a really, really different exhaust than you're used to hearing on a factory car. And in fact, it sounds fantastic. It doesn't sound like a small four-cylinder engine. It turns heads everywhere it goes, because it sounds like a Maserati or something like that. And we'll turn it on and we'll take a listen to that sound. Now, speaking of Maserati, there's a company very much like Maserati in the World War II era called Cisitalia, and the person who ran their sports car division was a person named Carlo Abarth, and so that's where the Abarth comes from. Cisitalia went bankrupt in 1948. Abarth buys what's left of the company, and in 1949 starts building race cars and such. In 1963, he comes out with the Abarth 595. Looks just like this car right here, and is repackaged as the Fiat 500 and sold through the Fiat line as well. And so the look is the same, but the performance is very different on the modern era Fiat 500 Abarth. We're going to take a look at where that performance begins. It begins under the hood with a 160 horsepower turbocharged four-cylinder motor. And it has a dual mode torque concept by way of a sport button. And so the engine is clean and nice and normal. You'll see the Abarth Scorpion logo both in the front of the car and on top of the motor as well, because the motor is distinctive to the Abarth edition. Where the Scorpion comes from is Carlo Abarth's birth sign. He was a Scorpio. Taking a look at the color scheme, black and red, very sporty, very cool. And then, like a lot of Italian cars, they want something a little more dramatic than what everybody else is doing on the inside. And so lipstick red leather is a pretty nice touch. When you speak of Italy, however, the car itself is not made in Italy. The parent company, is now Fiat and Chrysler together. And the car itself, many are made in Poland, and the rest are made in Mexico. Now, there's a sport button right here. So the car has 160 horsepower, has 150 pound-feet of torque. When you push the sport button, that becomes 170 pound-feet of torque, so a lot more oomph to get things going. This car is quite small, especially in the back seat. It's really a two-person car, but it's so small that power is actually a lot of power. This car is actually really quick. I'm going to jump in the back seat. We're going to take a look at just how snug some of those accommodations are. One nice thing when you pull the lever is that the seat automatically slides forward, but that's where the nice touches end. It's actually teeny tiny in the back. And so now, if you're not 6 feet tall, you'll be slightly more comfortable, but my knee is all of 2 inches deep in the back of this chair if I'm in any way in a comfortable seating position. And so, taking a look in the back, a decent trunk. It's a small car, and so you're not expecting this to be a Lincoln Town car in the back, but it is snug. It's good for a couple of weekend getaway bags, some light weekend grocery shopping, that sort of thing, but not much more than that. The good news is that the seats fold down in the back, and so if you really need the space, suddenly this small car becomes a station wagon. It's actually very, very spacious with the seats in the down position. Also, these headrests, you have to remember when people plop into the back seat, they're very hard and they're very low position. And if you forget that they're there, when you plop down there, you can really kind of put a stinger on your neck. So if you are going to have passengers in the back seat, just be mindful and keep these elevated. It's just because it's small, when you keep them elevated, it just kills your rear view. And so it's just something that you need to be mindful, not just with this car, but any small kind of sporty number like this. As I look on the passenger side, I mean, it has great lines. It's certainly a very good-looking car, and it gets nice fuel economy, 28 in the city and 34 on the highway. So it's sporty. It's more than sporty. It's fast. It's good-looking. It's cool. It's not a ton of money. I mean, a lot of variables that are very likable. Now let's turn it on and hear that exhaust. So when I talk about that loud, fun-loving type at the club, I'm talking particularly about this exhaust. Now you can hear that turbo spooling up as well, and so you have two distinctive sounds between the turbocharger and the exhaust pipe. Under full throttle, it actually sounds really fantastic. Again, it sounds more like a Maserati than anything else, and you literally will notice if you go out on a sporting drive in this, you'll just be turning heads everywhere you go because it sounds so exotic that everybody's sure it's a $100,000+ car. It's certainly not a $100,000 plus car. Pre-owned car like this with miles, 16,000 miles, is under $17,000, and so it's certainly an affordable car. Leather, moonroof, remaining factory warranty, that sort of thing. And if you have any questions about this car at all, or anything that we have here at Honda of Seattle and Toyota of Seattle, please don't be afraid to reach out. My name is Joe Tunney. I'm the pre-owned director of Honda of Seattle and Toyota of Seattle. Reach me anytime at joet@hondaofseattle.com.